When the adversary came to town, the Sunday school room felt warm and sleepy. Matteo, Lily, and Amina sat together, listening to their teacher, Mr. David, tell the story of Job. And so, Mr. David said, his voice deep, Satan, the great enemy of God, made a bet that he could turn Job against his faith. Matteo doodled a question mark in his notebook. Lily's brow furrowed. An evil supervillain making bets with God? It sounded more like a comic book than a sacred text. Outside, under the shade of an old maple tree, Amina kicked at a tuft of grass. It doesn't make sense, she said. Why would God even talk to someone who is pure evil, let alone make a wager with him? Lily nodded. Exactly. And if God is all-knowing, why does Job need to be tested? It feels cruel. Matteo pulled out his phone. I think we need to investigate. The next afternoon, the three friends gathered at the library. Okay, Matteo said, tapping on his tablet. In the oldest versions of the story, the original Hebrew word isn't Satan like a name. It's Hasada. Lily leaned in to read over his shoulder. The adversary, she read aloud, or the accuser. Amina, buried in a thick history book, looked up. I found something. It says that many ancient religions had stories about a great battle between good and evil. The idea of a powerful, purely evil being might have become part of Jewish and Christian stories over a long, long time, influenced by other cultures. Lily, meanwhile, had found a book of biblical commentary. You guys listen to this. It says Satan in the book of Job is like a member of God's court. His job is to be a prosecutor, to challenge things, to accuse people, to test if their faith is real. He isn't the king of demons. Matteo's eyes lit up. So, the adversary isn't a monster, he said. It's more like that voice in your head that makes you doubt yourself. The one that whispers, are you sure you can do this? Or the fear that stops you from standing up for what's right, Amina added. Lily closed her book. So the story isn't about God and a villain. It's about a good person facing the worst things imaginable and having to wrestle with his own inner adversary, his doubt and his despair. They knew they had to share what they'd found. They spent the rest of the afternoon making a presentation, creating slides with timelines and quotes. This changes the whole story, Matteo said, finding a map of the ancient Near East. It makes it more real. The next Sunday, they stood in front of the class. Matteo explained the meaning of Satan. Lily talked about how ideas from other cultures influenced the story over time. Then Amina spoke. The adversary in Job's story isn't some monster, she said. It's a metaphor for the hardest parts of being human. The real challenge is to keep faith when you're struggling with the adversary inside you. The room was quiet. Then, their teacher, Mr. David, came to the front. Thank you, he said, a genuine smile on his face. You've shown us that asking hard questions is an act of faith, not a lack of it. You've brought this ancient story to life and reminded us that its struggles are still our own. Walking home, the friends felt like they had uncovered a secret. They had looked a scary idea in the eye and found not a monster, but a mirror. They had learned that the oldest stories still have new things to teach us, and that our biggest challenges often come from within. Academic notes: the character of Satan evolved significantly throughout the Bible. In the book of Job, circa 6th-4th century BCE, Satan, Hashuton, acts as a member of God's divine council, a celestial prosecutor whose role is to test the faithfulness of humankind. Job chapter 1, verses 6 to 12. This is different from the figure of Satan in the New Testament, who is portrayed as a ruler of demons and the primary antagonist of God. Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 to 11. This evolution was influenced by dualistic concepts from Zoroastrianism during the Babylonian exile, which introduced the idea of a cosmic struggle between a supremely good deity and a supremely evil one.